Yes, yes. Hello. Welcome to another edition of Operator of Footprints at Operator Radio. We're here today at Forum, the cultural hub for music, arts, and films in Warm, Rotterdam. For the people that don't know yet, this is Footprints by Operator Radio. This is an ongoing series where we do a deep dive with artists, producers about making music. It's an ongoing series, and producers tell us a bit about making music, their workflow, mixing, sequencing, synths, plugins, and many more. We have a nice crowd today in Warm Rotterdam. There are also some people tuning in live via Facebook or the operator website. If you have any questions, you can feel free to ask them on the chat, and we will answer them. My name is Frederik Teixeira. You can call me Frey. And next to me is the man of the hour. Living in Rotterdam, originally from Belfast, North, from Ireland. He has releases on Shall Not Fade and Club Glow. DJing abroad. Also had gigs at a gig at Dekmantel and recently Waterworks and the Warehouse Project. So
Yes,
could I get a warm welcome and put your hands together for Kessler?
thank you, thank you.
So Kessler, also known as Eddie,
What's up?
how do you feel?
I feel good. Cold, as you can tell.
It's kind of cold inside, but we're
Yeah.
gonna heat it up in a moment.
Yeah, for sure.
So could you tell something about yourself?
Yeah. A lot of you, if you're here and you know me, my name's Eddie, and I make music under the name of Kessler. And I've been producing maybe almost 10 years or so, and DJing as well. And as you said, originally from Belfast, and I moved to Rotterdam about 3 years ago. It'll be like 3 years next month. And the reason why I moved is because I was looking for something more. Really enjoyed coming to Netherlands for gigs, for festivals. Dekmantel was one of the reasons as well. And I just set up my life here now. And just trying to be a successful musician or DJ, producer, whatever you want to call it. But today we're going to talk about some of my tracks and do a bit of a kind of like a track breakdown and explore some of the techniques that I've used for making these tracks and the decisions behind them. And then we'll do some questions as well. I can answer any questions you want. But the first kind of question I wanted to ask was I wanted to kind of gauge my audience a bit so that I'm not going like super nerdy into details where people don't understand anything I'm saying. So could I get a little show of hands for if you're just getting into production or if you're not into production at all, like a complete beginner? Okay. All right. That's all right. And maybe if you're a bit more, intermediate or a bit more experienced with it. Okay, so there's a split. All right. And or if you're like FX Twin or advanced, no, nobody. Oh, one. Okay. All right. That's my
We
guy.
got a balanced crowd. Balanced crowd.
Cool. All right. I think we'll.
Yeah, we're gonna. The show is for you. You can start with 2 tracks that you put together for us, and we're gonna end also with a little jam session.
Yeah. Cool.
So,
Cool.
The show is yours.
The first track is the first song I made in Rotterdam, and I thought it might be nice since we got a big screen here to show the music video. Oh, that's not the music video. I made this music video for the track. It's called Friesland. It came out on a label called Shall Not Fade. I put out a release there about last year, and it kind of is I would say a staple of my sound where it's kind of breakbeats. You got like influences of drum and bass and jungle, but also a bit melancholic. And I think that's the kind of sound that I'm making the most or gravitate towards the most. So I'll shut up now and I'll play it.
means ambivalence.
I don't care.
Ambivalence suggests strong feelings. In opposition, the word suggests that you are torn between two opposing courses of action.
Those aren't courses of action. Is that it?
Yeah, give a round of applause. Yeah,
So
really dope. It sounded really dope. That
All the way from Holland,
Oh.
but one of Belfast. So
That's another one. So
wasn't me.
I saw a lot of things from Rotterdam, of course.
Yeah, yeah.
What was your inspiration for making that?
So this track was made during the lockdown, and I just basically moved to Rotterdam in February of that year. I've been living in Utrecht for a couple of months before that, but yeah, basically I made this track around February and March time, and that's when kind of everything was going downhill, and the whole kind of idea behind the release was called Ambivalent, which is to do with like mixed emotions. And it's basically how I felt. Like, felt great one day and then really depressed the next day. You know, just being stuck at home and not being able to see your friends, etc.
Recognizable.
Yeah. We all went through some. So this release was kind of like the first time where I actually set out to kind of make something that is, it's got a bit of emotion to it and kind of channel that into something, you know, have something at the end of it. And
Nice.
with this track, it was meant to be like the main track of the EP. Also going to be called Ambivalent, but I made it on Class de Brieselaan, is where I lived, so I called it Brieselaan. Yeah.
Nice.
But yeah, it's basically the song. The way I set it up was to have like 3 different moods, so that's playing into the mixed emotions again. So I kind of had like this happy section at the start, and then getting a bit more intense towards the middle, and then at the end it's just a bit chaotic. And so yeah, I wanted to have all these different changes and different progressions and different melodies. So if we get it up, cool. So yeah, you can kind of see here. Yeah, can you see? Okay. I set it up like we've got these section markers here where kind of the mood shifts a bit and the dynamics change and things come and things go. So let me just play it from the start here. I'll have to listen to it again, sorry. this first section, really, I'm just kind of it's a typical intro of a song where you just start off with some pads and some drums. So I thought we would take a look at the drum programming. That's kind of where I like to be, where I'm comfortable at is programming breaks and drums, etc., etc. A lot of people ask me about it, so now people can see. So let's take a look here, or this one. So this is just a typical breakbeat pattern. If you look at the notes here, most tracks, most electronic tracks tend to be 4/4, and I get bored of that, really, to be honest. So most of them end up being like this. Come on. I relate to better. I enjoy making breakbeat stuff more. It's more interesting for me. I struggle to make 4/4 these days. So that's just the basis of the drums, and everything's kind of moving around that. So if we solo the kick and then add some more things.
If we take one step back, how do you make the drums? Do you use, because we have some equipment on the table? Could you tell us something about what you brought along with you?
Yeah, so I've got a bit of a hybrid setup. This is a very simplified version of it, just for today, but I didn't want to bring the whole studio. So yeah, I'm kind of working inside the computer a lot, but I also have lots of hardware, drum machines like from the likes of Electron, and used like 909s and stuff before. But yeah, effectively, this is just a drum rack. This is within Ableton. Here you can just load some sounds. I've got a little Ableton push with me. If I can select the track. So this is what I would use to program some stuff. And it's much nicer than using a mouse and a keyboard. It gets a bit tiring, and it's a bit more hands-on. Like the longer I started to make music, the more I had gas. Gas is this common phenomenon called gear acquisition syndrome, and it's real. It's seriously real.
Where you feel the need to get more and more equipment.
It's a struggle. But you really don't need that. You really can. Like, I started making music with just a laptop and just programming it in. And those things are always a luxury. So I still like to have, a balance between the software and the hardware stuff. Hardware stuff's just it's a treat, really, Yeah, so this is drum rack within Ableton. There's lots of similar things in Logic and stuff as well, but yeah. And then we've got here this is like a little sticks loop. If I find the original, where I basically just chopped it up, took it like a little section of what I liked. So I think the original sounded like this or something. So then I just chopped it up a little bit to have a different groove and to fit with mine a bit better. And also not playing the whole time. And then I think here we bring in a break or some hi-hats. Just kind of progressing the song a bit more, really. And then with everything together. And then we've got, I like to add like a lot of layers. So you'll see like all of these tracks are drum tracks. And I just nerd out at making drums. It's fun. But I've got some like little stuff that just coming in here and there, just to kind of transition the song a little bit as well. So here we've got, I believe, oh, sorry, like little snippets of breaks. Like by itself, it sounds like nothing by itself, but then when you put it together. And then here we've got like a clap with a big echo on it, and that also just adds like a little bit of depth. Is that? Yeah, I was thinking it wasn't there. Okay.
Yeah, because I can also see some a whole rack full
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
effects and plugins.
Yeah.
What are plugins and effects that you normally or typically use in your productions?
Quite a lot. Yeah. This also ties back into that gas thing. I just acquired a lot of different plugins, and over the years, like I also just use the standard Ableton stuff as well. Like it's great. And it's really all you need. But sometimes with third-party stuff, this is a favorite delay of mine. This one, it's just called Replica. It just adds a different. It's got a different tone, different sound. Or oh no, got some technical difficulties here. Hold on. Be with you in a minute.
You can use my mic if you want.
Yeah. Give me that mic for a second. So, I knew that would happen. Yeah, so I use some stuff here. This is all Ableton, like just stock stuff, and it works just fine. But sometimes you just want something else, and then you can try experimenting with different third-party stuff. But yeah, it's all really the same to me, to be honest. But yeah, here on this clap sound, just got a big. Sorry, where did we go? Got a big clap and a delay. This is it by itself. I didn't really like that, so I wanted to have more of an effect, make it sound a bit more, I don't know, epic or something like that.
Is that it?
Oh, hello. There we go. Sorry about that. So yeah, then we get into the next section of the song, and just to kind of break it up a little bit, just got like this song is quite simple in a way, just with different sounds, combining them, and then just kind of progressing nicely. But here we just got like a little piano sound. I believe I sample a lot of stuff. I'm not a trained keyboard player or anything like that. I can play some keys, but generally I like to sample some sounds and then manipulate them in a way. Like I think this is the original sample.
Was it like a sample from a sample pack, or
Yeah,
something you recorded?
I believe it's probably from Splice. I use Splice. I get samples from everywhere. Sometimes from YouTube as well. But there's websites where you can like pay a little bit of money each month, and you get access to lots of samples, and and then also sampling myself like vinyl or other tracks.
You got this sample and you cut it in a little fragment.
Yeah.
It for your
Yeah, it was just a nice jazz sample, and then I just took a little snippet of it. So the kind of the happy section of the song, the intro. Though, I mean, this is still a bit happy, but it's just kind of raising the intensity a bit more. So you can see here the drums start to fill out a bit more, and then we've got some new melodic elements introduced. So we can take a look and see what's going on with the drums first. Let me see. Yeah, we're good. We're good. So yeah, it's kind of the same thing that happened in the first section. We're just like with the stick loops that I mentioned. Basically, just taking. So we got a couple of different breaks going on here, and just taking little fragments of it, like the bits that I liked, and then making it work with other samples as well. So you can see here. So just chopping breaks essentially. Then you start to combine it with other sounds. And then that's essentially that's how I like to program my drums. If I'm doing kind of more breakbeat stuff like this, it's more the kind of less intuitive way and with a mouse and a keyboard. But then I'll also be kind of programming sounds in with my push as well, or I have a drum machine as well, which is at the studio. But yeah, we're keeping it simple. So then, like underneath, we've got these little hats. Just lots of layers together. Like on their own, they all sound rubbish. Like they all suck by themselves. But when you put them together, you get this nice little melting pot of sounds. So that's pretty much it for the drums. Other than that, I've got some effects going on. So on like the let me see here, the drum group. So all the drums here are grouped together here, and then they're processed together. So I can affect all of it instead of adding an echo here, adding a compressor there, blah blah blah. So you see here, I've got some EQ going on the group in general, just kind of cutting out some of the low end so that the kick has more room. And then we've also got some compression, some saturation, and that's just mainly to kind of beef up the sound a bit, make it sound a bit better, have more of an impact. So I can solo it without all this. Let me see this one here. Now you notice how much quieter and just a bit more dull it sounds. So yeah, it's all subtle kind of things, but if you add lots of these things together, it sounds a lot better. And then this is one I don't really like to tell people about, but this is how you get the glitchiness.
This is a secret weapon.
It's not a secret. I mean, it's in the public domain, but I don't tell people about it. But no, this one's really cool. So this is basically an effect. It's called stutter edit, and I like lots of kind of like glitchy and like jittered percussion, things like that, and I play to a lot of jungle and drum and bass where they have these sounds. And to do that all manually it can be fun, but I've discovered this one where you can play it, so you can play the effects. So I will just demonstrate that in a second. So some of the sounds are a bit crazy, but bear with me. Let me see, we're on the right one? Yeah, cool. Let me just solo the drums first so we can hear it properly. The kick. And then we go back here. Cool. So you see here when I play a key, all these different parameters are changing. And these are basically all different effects, like different little stutters and things like that. So yeah, some of them, as I said, sound a bit crazy, but it's just finding the right ones for me. So that can be a bit painstaking, for sure. Just listening over and over and finding one or two keys out of this whole 4 octaves that work.
And it also looked like you put some macro on the plugins.
No, so this is just it's essentially just it's a bank of presets, and then each key has a different. Oh, sorry. Do you mean these macros here?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. So that is for a filter here. So let me see where we've got that going on. Yeah. So here we've done some automation. If you don't know what that is, this microphone, man. If you don't know what that is, yeah, as it sounds, it's getting the Ableton to do it for you instead of manually doing it. So what I did was then I got on my push. Where are we? Here. And I would then hit record and then just record the automation in. So here it's just controlling the filter here. So yeah, just a big combination. Is it on? Yeah. Oh, it's not on? Oh, here we go. Hello? Yeah. Hello. A combination of all these different processes and techniques. So we've got working with audio clips here in this section. And then we're also doing some programming here as well. And then kind of tying it all together with some effects. And just making the sound a bit more unique, you know, adding my own flavor to it. You know, a lot of people can just, yeah, you can program drums and put on some loops and stuff like that. But that's, in my opinion, really boring. So I like to kind of, if I'm going to use loops, I'm going to at least use them in a way that are creative, and you're not just taking somebody else's work and you know, releasing it as your own. So then we'll go on to the next section here. So this is where we have a switch up in the melody, and it's just got a bit of a different tone to it. Starting to bring some more elements into it, so you could hear that. So this vocal we had, this one, I mean it's all the way through from the start and all to the end, but I've used it in 3 different ways effectively. So here it's just how it sounds, and then we get to the next section of just to add a bit of variation. I've literally just reversed it. Absolute genius, I know. But yeah, it adds just a different tone, and I thought it sounded really cool. And also then Also, then what we've done is I've put a little gate on it. If you don't know what a gate is, it's basically just say for example you have one long sustained note going zzz, and basically a gate would be like duh, and yeah, I know, good, huh? Duh, 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 duh. So that is basically all I did there, and you can see this automation here. One second. And those are just little small, it's just all small touches that majority of people are never going to hear. But, you know, this is stuff that I like to do and I have fun with it. So I hope you enjoy it as well. Um, so then we add some more elements here as well. We've got the bass line here, which changes from just a kind of long sustained, it's kind of building up a lot. So then it changes to something else here. So in the wrong one. Don't know if you can hear that well. We've got some little sounds in the background, just kind of transitioning and just basically creating a bit of tension and release. And yeah, they're all always subtle and just you don't really notice them by themselves. For example, you probably can't really tell that this sound is in the background the whole time. These are just little Foley sounds that are recorded from vinyl. The old classic, yeah. But a lot of these sounds by themselves, you don't notice them. But then when you put them just subtly there, and you have them in for a while, and you take them away, you're like, oh, what? It sounds so dry and so boring. And it's quite fascinating because you can never really tell that they're there, and yeah, it's just falling back into that kind of subtle kind of little small details. So yeah, we'll move on a bit further in the song. Let's go to this section here.
So you talked a bit about the rhythmic section of the track, but you also, of course, have a lot of melodies and bass lines.
Yeah.
What is your creative process in making the melody and the bass?
Yeah, so as I said, or I'm not a trained keyboard player. I taught myself to play keys. So yeah, it is really just experimenting, to be honest. I think when you're making electronic music, you don't have to know how to your theory. I did study music and I know a bit of theory, but I was more of a guitar player and just taught myself to play keyboard. So a lot of it is for me just figuring out until it sounds right. There's not really sticking to scales, and I try to, but if something sounds good and I know it's not right, I'm just going to use it because it sounds good. So just trust in your ear, really. So here I employed my inner orchestral Kessler. Well, okay. So yeah, we just got this blatantly cheesy kind of string sound, but it adds a lot, and it kind of adds a lot of like epicness or something to the song. So yeah, of course, this is a virtual strings. Yeah, so this is called analog strings. You could do this with many other things also within Ableton, but this is a third party supplier, and yeah, it's really just there to kind of transition into the next section. As you can see here, this is the breakdown section here. It continues that sustained note and just kind of ties it all in together. And then we've also got some kind of choir type sounds from the drone. And then also here we've got some more. So this is a sample, I believe. Yeah, it is. I believe the original sample. Then I did this. What I've done here, so what I've done here is I've just taken a sample and then transposed it a couple of different semitones. And then here we've got some more on the same vocal again. So yeah, then we get to the kind of the break section, where it all kind of, the calm before the storm is basically what I wanted to. That was the intention for this.
I'm ambivalent. In fact, that's my new favorite word.
Do you know what that means, ambivalence?
I don't care.
Ambivalence suggests strong feelings.
So this, so I've got some vocal samples going on here, and
I'm ambivalent.
I found this sample. I was just hunting for a vocal sample for the song, and I wanted to call the song Ambivalent, and this was perfect. And this is one of the rare occasions where you find a sample that actually really works. But yeah, I believe I got this from the movie called Girl Interrupted. It's basically this girl who's losing the plot in a mental asylum. Yeah, I could relate.
In fact, that's my new favorite word.
Do you know what that means, ambivalence?
I don't care.
Ambivalence suggests strong feelings. In opposition, the word suggests that you are torn between two opposing courses of action.
Those aren't courses of action.
And then just bubbling up below that is the same vocal that we've been hearing throughout the track. This one. But what I've done, I've kind of applied the same technique of how I would chop up breaks, and just kind of creating a new melody out of that. So let me skip the part where it's not filtered. So you see all these individual chops here. So some of them are just taking a little fragment of the vocal. Some of them are pitched up, some of them are pitched down. And yeah, I just wanted to have a different I don't know, what's the word to describe it? Just a different vibe in general. So I felt like this was a bit more, just sounds a bit more intense. And then we've got our transition and stuff here again, where it's building up to this big crescendo. I'll play it without that the vocal kind of chop, and I just thought it just had this extra intensity to it, so I really liked it. And then back again. So yeah, this is where things get a bit chaotic, and kind of bringing in more influences of jungle and drum and bass. So we've got like some amen breaks, etc. So we can take a look at that. So I've introduced a new break, well, a couple of new breaks, but these are like on top of the ones that were originally there. So this is basically just noodling, like seeing what works, and yeah, it does get very, very tiring after a while. And it is, it's not the most inspiring thing compared to playing in live, playing with the keys or your synths or devices. But the results at the end are really rewarding, and some people really like there's attention to detail, and yeah, that's why I like to do this. So we've just got what happened there? Just solo the sounds. The main kind of trick in this is the sample selection. Like if you're not working with good tools, it's gonna sound like shit either way. So you need to kind of be wary of what samples you're using and combining with other sounds. And then the rest is all easy. Like if you've got a good palette already, then it's fine. I have a lot of bricks. Too many bricks, to be honest. These are gigabytes and gigabytes of bricks, which I've been collecting over the years. But I maybe use 5% of them max, but it's nice to have the option. So yeah, and then we also introduced like a new bass line here. So again, with kind of changing the melody and changing the tone. So we can solo that and see what's going on there. Sorry, wrong one. Well, this is just a sub under layer. So this is just a big gnarly dubstep kind of sounding patch. Sounds a bit gross on its own. I didn't really. It sounds terrible. It sounds so bad, but when you put it together with something else, it can sound good. So also that's where this I believe was really just a preset and that I tweaked a little bit. Maybe we could go back to the original sound. So that's the original sound, and then I just was kind of twiddling with some knobs. This is the majority of what I do. Even if I have software or hardware, I'm just experimenting really. And then getting a sound, what I like most of these parameters, I don't really know what they mean, and it's really just experimenting. So yeah, let's listen to that all together again. Here we are. Wait a second. Let's get the original sound back. Oh no, we've lost it. All right, we'll go with it. We'll go with it. that's essentially the whole track. Then it's just repeating for a bit. There's some minor variations, um, but yeah, we can track back. It's just building it up piece by piece, taking some things away and replacing, putting in new elements which are interesting for the ear and also for yourself. And then yeah, having lots of variation and quite a lot of layers, and just making them all really work together. And yeah, then we get to the kind of mixing side of it. No, I believe with this track I didn't use drum buses. Oh, I did. Sorry, no, never mind. So these are. Let me go to this view. So here I would do all my mixing myself. Um, I like to do it. I think it's fun, and all of the tracks are then going into these groups here, basically. So I've got one for my drums, one for my synths, for the vocals, and then for effects as well. So it's also easier to solo them when you're playing through the track. You know. So if I want to hear just the synths at this section, or if I want to hear just the drums or the vocals, so you kind of get the idea there. But yeah, there's not really a lot going on in terms of like processing. There's no complicated stuff really going on. On the drums, actually, I think I did the mixing over here already. So we've got like a little bit of EQ here. Talked about that earlier. And that's really just giving room for the kick. Because if you have lots of bassy elements all together, you're the master fader. First of all, it's going to be red, and everything's just going to sound muddy as hell. So you have to kind of you have to give a bit of space for everything. And then some general kind of compression, which kind of ties everything together. So here we've got some going on there. Just a little bit more. Like everything's quite subtle as well. I'm not doing anything too crazy or overboard. It's really just kind of trusting your ears and also using reference tracks. So I have a folder. Oh, I have a folder for reference tracks here. So these are all just songs that I really admire or inspire me, or also that sound technically good. And I would literally just drag one of these tracks. Like for example, we've got there's got to be some drum in here, yeah, for sure. So to me, that sounds fat. Like that sounds great, and I like how the kick comes through and the bass is there, and also all of like the melodic elements. So then, what I would do is drag that track into the project, and then just do like an A and B until it gets to a point where it sounds almost similar. Um, and then you're kind of off to a good foot or a good start. Um, and yeah, essentially that was the whole creative process and kind of technical stuff for this track. There's not a lot going on here in terms of the synth bus. It's just everything's coming together in there, and then rolling off some low end, and then we've got some little strawberry on top kind of stuff to make it kind of shine. And then on the master channel, got some more compression, some more saturation, just to kind of beef it up a little bit, and then some more compression, and then some more saturation. Just adding lots of different things in subtle, like moderate amounts, until it really sounds good to me, and as close as I can get it to the reference track that I'm using, or just what I've been hearing. And yeah, that's essentially it in a nutshell.
Yeah, it's great to hear your creative process and how you make the music that we actually enjoy.
Yeah.
Before we go any further, are there any questions from my audience?
Yo. Oh. Yeah, we can we can share one.
Yeah, sweet.
Hey.
There was one thing with your drum selection, because there's so many tracks on there. I was wondering, like, what's your strike rate with the sample selection? Like, are you still picking out drums and you think, oh, this sounds like shit, and delete it, or
Yeah,
are
yeah.
you,
Yeah, that never goes away. I still have those sessions where I'm just like going through my kick folder and just do. But like I am also, yeah, I'm quite like I have. Here's a little small selection here of some favorites that I've made, but you know this could be a lot more. You know, yeah, sample selection can be. Yeah, you can be waiting a long time to find the right sample, but it's just having that perseverance, really. And then also that's why I collect a lot of samples so that I just have more in my arsenal. Here's my sample library, which is somewhat organized. So I have drum loops here and like instruments. So I did this a long time ago and still need to update it again. But it's all a work in progress. Like yeah. So sometimes what I like to do actually is I use Splice. Let me see if I can find it. Let's get this away. It's gone. It's disappeared. No, it's here. So yeah, Splice. Do you know about Splice? Yeah. Splice. I love it because you can just search for something specific. You know, search breaks. And then you've got loads there. You can kind of filter down exactly to what you need, drum and bass, or you search jungle or something, and then you're presented with quite a lot. And it's a better way of finding good sounds. You know, if I want to find a flute or something, you know what I mean. I want to put a big reverb flute. Oh, this is probably going to be very loud, so let me turn it down. You know, genius. I know, but yeah, sites like these can really help you whenever you're struggling within your own collection of samples, and you're thinking, "Well, I need this sound. Where can I get it?" So yeah, I would definitely recommend checking out ones like that, like Splice, or also YouTube. Yeah, no worries. Any other questions? On the left.
Yo.
Hello.
Yo, man. Firstly, I just want to say thank you for sharing your secrets with us.
No
I
worries.
really appreciate it.
I'll send you a ticky later.
I mean, I have a ton of questions, but I just want to ask mainly about your arrangement techniques. Like, do you work exclusively in this view, or do you also use the session view? Like, I assume you start with a drum loop.
Yeah.
And do you build it just in here?
So it really depends. Some tracks, I would actually work kind of exclusively in session view and then play in the arrangement live with my Ableton Push. But some tracks, it depends on what I'm making really. If I'm making the more if I want to make something a bit more intricate and a bit more detailed, then I would be working in this view. But yeah, the session view is great. I use it all the time, and especially if you have an Ableton Push, it's made for it. You know what I mean? But yeah, so it's a bit of both really. Just whatever mood I'm in, I'll start in there. Generally, I think if I start in the arrangement view, I think I finish tracks quicker because it's less of a jam. But sometimes you just want to have a jam, and you know it's not all about finishing a track. It's just doing it for enjoying it really. So yeah.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
No
If I
worries.
could ask just one more.
Yeah, go for it.
Could you
Send you
just
another
run,
ticky.
Could you just run over the buses again? Like
Yeah.
You had them in groups.
Yeah.
And then what are you using, like sends?
So let's have a look here. So yeah, go back to the buses here. So here's where they are. Maybe it's better to show you in the next track I'm going to show you, but I'll explain it anyways. So everything is just going. See here in the ins and outs section, you can just send your audio from any track to somewhere else. So anything that I thought should be in the Vox, etc., or bus. That's going to there. You can do it with sends as well, and I did try that before. Where you have like compressor or something over here, but I just didn't really like that workflow. So instead, I was like, right, I want to send all of it and not just part of it. But yeah, with the drum groups, yeah, there is, as I said, there's not really too much going on in this track, anyways. Just simple EQing. I probably could have done a bit more, but I was already happy with how it sounded. And yeah, if it's not broken, don't fix it. That's kind of went with that attitude. Yeah.
Nice, thanks.
No worries. At the back.
Massive track, by the way, massive track. Yeah. 2 questions. First, I saw that you didn't use a lot of panning. Am I correct?
Panning.
Yeah.
Let's have a check.
As in the drums, because I presume that because you're using a lot of samples that are already pre-panned.
No, a lot of them. There is quite a bit of planning,
but not extreme.
Not extreme. No, not going like fully to the right or fully to the left. No, just whenever I felt it was necessary. Like, so this one is quite well panned here.
Yeah.
Let me see, but that was more for like a dramatic effect of the conversation between the two women.
Yeah.
I'm ambivalent.
So
In fact, that's my new favorite word.
So one's panned to the left and one's panned hard
Do you
to the
know
right.
what that means, ambivalence?
And it sounded cool in headphones, basically.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was small.
Oh, good. That's also. Do you mix on headphone and on monitors or?
Yeah, both. I generally check it if it sounds good on my headphones, which are these guys.
770.
Yeah. Which I think they suck. I really don't like them. But if they sound good on this, then I know that it's gonna sound good on speakers as well. But like I also reference a lot on like my phone speaker or a laptop speaker or the car test. The car test is essential. But yeah, there's not a lot of panning going on here because the sounds in general they're good quality sounds, if you know what I mean.
True.
They have a lot of width.
Yeah.
I think in some of them maybe I've reduced the width because it was too much.
Okay.
But yeah, I do a bit of panning. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
And side shading, I heard some minor side shading in the bass and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But it's minimal for what I heard. It's not like heavy.
Yeah.
Heavy.
Yeah, it's really just
EDM. Excuse me, that word.
Yeah. No, it's just there for the function, really. Look, not for the sound. Just really to give the kick a bit of room, because the original kick that I had. Let me see, which one are we using here? Oh yeah, sorry. If you don't know what side chaining is, basically it's using a sound source like a kick, and using that as a source to kind of duck another sound so that they work better together. So if you have like a kick and a bass line, and they're both low end frequency sounds, and they don't like to play together, so you duck one with the other. So I think I wanted to go for like quite a deep and like bassy kick. I think originally I had, they're all quite deep, but this one had the biggest oomph. And then we've got side chaining going on here with the compressor. It is quite subtle, Camilo.
Yeah. And is it in the group or is it on the instruments themselves?
That's on the track itself.
All right.
But then what I've done, I've grouped the bass and the kick together in one group.
Yeah.
And then I've done quite a bit of processing here too.
I presume that's for the low end, right?
Yeah. So let me solo the bass and the kick group.
Nice.
So saturation is basically just distortion, like you have with, let's think back to like guitar or rock or something like that. But what it does is it adds like color to frequencies when you saturate it. So it can be quite appealing, but also it kind of gels everything together. So then I've done some saturation there, and then some more specific EQing, like taking out some frequencies which didn't sound good. It's quite hard to tell on these monitors, but yeah, it's something that it's quite fine tuning, and yeah.
Last question. How long did it take you to finish the track?
This track, surprisingly, this whole EP came together. It was actually meant to be an album, so it was 12 tracks, and it came together because we had a lot of time last year. I think I finished the whole album project, I think, within 2 months. But this track, I think, it could have been one of the ones that was a sleepless night. I'm not gonna lie, or it could have been a couple days. Yeah, but that's not generally how often I finish tracks.
All right.
It can be weeks sometimes, or I'm still working on stuff from like 2020 that I just either lost interest in, or So yeah.
Great. Thanks.
No worries. Any other questions? Yeah. We got to continue. You're out of luck. Oh.
I was wondering what you do to keep the creative process going.
Yeah, good question actually. Yeah, that's a good question, because I sometimes struggle with it as well. I think with like every creative, it's hard to constantly be inspired and just keep churning out products. But having a lot of resources available, and also just taking a step back sometimes can be helpful. Like it's easy to get into a creative rut. But yeah, just really having lots of tools around you is quite nice, because you can just experiment, and then something out of that will come. Yeah, usually just perseverance as well. Yeah. Yeah. Now we move on.
Thank you so much. I see that we have more questions, but I have to be strict. Sorry about that. But there is going to be another opportunity to ask some more questions, so keep tight. Yeah, let's continue to the second track. What have you got for us?
Yeah, so the next one is an unreleased one. It's one that I'm still working on, and it's one of my favorite tracks I've produced. And this one's a bit more for the kind of intermediate producers here. It's gonna take a little while to load, because it is quite a big project. So yeah, how you all doing? You all good? Yeah. I think we might have time for one more question. Maybe.
Yeah, since we got time, one more question. He was really quick.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, shoop.
Ew. It was actually about
Hello.
this project, but you use like the autopan on like the reverse vocal, but like it was a gate.
Yeah.
But how did you turn that like not into like mono, or like just only stereo, and that not like it's panning?
Yeah, so that's louder. With the autopan, generally how it works is from left to right. But you can change the phase so that it's all just on the same, and then it acts like a gate. I'll show you. It's maybe better to explain it whenever the next project loads up. But yeah, you tweak one knob, and then it becomes something else. You could also use a gate, but this one is easier. I was able to access it from my Ableton Push.
Yeah, I usually use a shaper box or like a gate. But
Yeah,
I saw you use an autopan. I was like, huh?
Yeah.
It's only for like stereo fields.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just one of the things I learned from, was it Object or Pariah? He uses like exclusively Ableton stuff, and I was like, "What? That's crazy!" Because he has such a crazy, crazy sound, and I think also he uses some native instrument stuff because he did work, but he produces and only uses like effects, etc. But he was doing a talk and showing about using different effects in different ways than what you're supposed to. Like also like using a delay to add a character instead of like a delay. So yeah, I was just messing around with that, and then found a cool new way to use it really. And this is taking a long time to load. Another question? Oh yeah. Okay. So yeah, the next track. Oh, did we get a question? No or no? No. Yeah. So the next track. It's called Lunar. It's kind of on the similar kind of vibe, but just a lot more intense, and there's a lot more attention to detail, and it's like 170 BPM. I'm playing a lot of that stuff recently, but it's also very very melancholic, and there's lots of sound design going on where I was messing around with my synths, and then also I think it's a good one to demonstrate with drum programming as well. So yeah, whenever it eventually loads, this is a lot longer than a minute, man. Come on. But yeah, welcome to the world of producing, where technical issues are never short. The Wi-Fi? Let's try it. Let's try it. Boom. Immediately loads. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. So I will just force quit. Yeah. Karma. Okay. Is it quit yet? Okay. Bear with us. Yeah. So this is also something that's very common. Waiting for this box to go away. Right. So let me just double check. Yeah, that was working fine. Okay. Lunar. Here we go. Does everybody understand what I'm talking about, by the way? Yeah? Can I get a hands for yes and a hands okay, hands for no? Okay, Epi. All right.
It seems we got a little bit more time because
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
not really working out.
Yeah.
But maybe you could tell something about what you got here, because you talked a bit about the Ableton Push, you talked a bit about the keyboard, I think, but we also got a little beast right here.
Yeah. So this is my baby. It's a ASM Hydrosynth. It's a bit of a mouthful, but yeah, it's essentially a digital synthesizer. More recently, there we go, nice. More recently, as I started to take music seriously, I started to acquire a lot more things, and yeah, that's that gas we talked about. But it's cool. It's a digital synth that can do a lot of different things. I'll set it up quickly. MIDI track. So the song has loaded, which is good, but I'll quickly demonstrate this. MIDI to here. And here. Yeah, so I like to use like hardware and software. This keyboard is basically for controlling soft synths, so software. Like here. This is just like a big cinematic sounding. Very Hans Zimmer. But yeah, using this in combination, I think it's perfect for me. That kind of hybrid setup. But as I said again, like it's not essential, and it is expensive. and addictive. So I highly don't recommend. Really don't. Okay, so it's loaded now, and let me just kind of show you what we're looking at. So this one is a lot more. There's a lot more channels. There's a lot more things going on. So all of this is drums, and then we've got some more drums, and some more drums, and I think some more. Yeah. But yeah, so this is one I've been working on for quite a while, and I really love it. And I think eventually I'm going to release it on my own label, because it's like, to reflect back to Camilo's question, like some tracks are made in a couple of hours and some are made in months. So I'll give you a quick playthrough of the song. I'm going to skip some sections because it is like 7 minutes long or so. Yeah. Solo some things whilst it's playing. So that's the track, well, one section of it. So yeah, it's really just employing all the same techniques that we went through before in the last track. I'm a bit of a one-trick pony, to be honest. But you see here, just chopping up breaks again. This is a very, very famous, typical break that's used in a lot of this style of music. And it has, people use it a lot because it has a certain characteristic and nostalgia involved with it. So you'll have heard it in loads of other tracks. But the fun thing is making it your own in a way. And then below that, we've got some little percussion going on here as well. Then we have, so I like to do a lot of different sections, as you can see here. So we've got a breakdown section here, and this is where the lead comes in. and then we've got like more of a glitchy kind of a bridge almost, and then again in the last part of the song, it's just completely different as well. So the breakdown section, it's just really just where I've going crazy with some drums and just using lots of different samples and chopping them up in a way. And then also adding some more melodic parts to it here. These keys. Shut up. These keys I did not play. They're actually from my old roommate and friend Bren. You might know him as Brentex Collective. So I was really struggling with this song. To reflect back on the question someone said about creative process, sometimes it's good to collaborate as well because it introduces a new perspective. So he came in, he's a jazz pianist and he's very talented. And I asked him, would you maybe play some parts over this? And we did like a long session, and then I just took little parts of it. It's a bit hectic, and I that was the kind of intention. I wanted it to be a bit mad and like drums are going crazy, and then we kind of move on to where the lead section comes in here. This was also a sample that I took and then I chopped it up again, just like how I would with breaks. So the original sample, it's quite similar, but. And then I took little parts where I wanted and then pitched it up and down to fit within my song. That kind of became like the main focus of the song, and before that I was really struggling to find like this part which I wanted to have something epic, something huge, something that was like, wow, okay. And then whenever this came together, I could really then kind of move on with the song. And then you can see it's in this section as well a bit later on. But so putting things in and then taking them away has a really good effect, essentially. And then we go on to the next section of the song. This section I don't really know how to describe this. It's just it took a long time, and it was just repeating and repeating, and I was really tired of it. But at the end, I was really happy with it, and it is quite a lot. There's lots of different samples here, just kind of just going through my sample collection and adding little weird sounds. That's not weird, but yeah. That's a kick. And then like chopping them up, making them repeat, like this. It's a very common technique in breakbeat music. And then also like reversing them. So yeah, just big combination of that. and yeah, I thought it was cool, so I went with it. And then yeah, so the melody kind of changes here. Like the main melody that we had here, I take it out and introduce a new one. Also, it's kind of like a little bridge. I said earlier about like "Calm Before the Storm" kind of thing. I like to have those constant changes in my tracks. And then yeah, I think we have strings coming in again, big cheesy strings. Sorry, no, it was here in this section. No. So this part's all just building up and creating tension before the last section of the song. See here, I've just kind of teased the sound a bit and changed how it sounds. So I filtered it, and so it's just you hear it a little bit, and then it's going to come back later. Just kind of what's the word? Foreshadowing for thinking back to English class. So there's a little snippet there, and then another one comes through. So yeah, here again, just going mental with drums. Really, that's the only way to kind of describe that is just putting a load of samples together and seeing what works, and just keep building and building and building. So I think I've got 3 different drum groups going on in this track, and that just kind of keeps it interesting for myself. And I think here we've also introduced a different bass line. So if I solo the bass in the other sections, I'm sorry about this. So it's still quite a thick and heavy sounding bass, but then we come to this section, and it's just a bit more dirty, a bit more intense. That's just designing sounds to fit with your agenda. Really, I wanted a section that was just a bit like, wow, here we go. Well, best way to describe that. And then we get to the outro, where it's just another new section. New, but just kind of strip back some elements, and then you can tell that it's the chaotic, the chaos is done really. So yeah, that's the song, basically. Sneak peek into what I'm working on now and how I kind of structure a song. this is not a representation of every song I make. This is probably in the more kind of advanced section, but it kind of demonstrates like what different processes I use and like what kind of sounds I'm going for, etc. I think Frey, you wanted to do a little pause, give you guys a little break for a second, go have a smoke, and then we're gonna come back and then we're gonna have a little jam, using some of the gear that I brought today, and yeah, sound good. Thank you.
So, if you could all take your seats, then we can move on to the next part of Footprints. We're gonna start with a little jam session. Eddie, take it away.
Am I on? I don't believe I'm on. I'm on. Okay. So yeah, kind of a little jam, and I'm hearing some resonance there. So yeah, where to start? Where to start? Let's usually start with the drums. Sorry about that. This one, this back. Okay. So I've just loaded up a kit on my push here. Drum kit to start off with. All right. Tempo, let's go. 140, always good. So I've loaded in a clap already. Okay. I'm gonna look for like a little drum sample to kind of have some nice textures in the background. It's alright. Alright, let's go with that. Let's hear it on its own. So, there's way too much bass in this, so I only want to take a little bit and then change it up a bit. the kick and the bass are kind of fighting each other a little bit. So I'm gonna kind of make a little bit of room for them. So I added some side chain compression here. A bit louder. Okay, so recorded a little take there, just me jamming it live. And I'm pretty happy with how it sounds, so I'm just gonna take like 16 bars of it or something. Right, so let's find the new sound. Kind of like I want something a bit like dirty, but also like still a bit, you know, epic and kind of ethereal or something. This is a nice patch that I've made before. Let's see if we can kind of fit it in with this. Alright, I'm gonna record that now. Right, cool. So I'm looking. This is like software that I use. It's like for drums and stuff like that, little loops. So like, yeah, this is software stuff. This is hardware stuff. Just kind of combining both of that. And now I'm just gonna kind of look for sounds that really fit, some extra drum sounds and stuff like that. Bring back the synth. Just gonna check the levels a little bit. And that's it. All right. So this is like, it's a bit different to how I make music, but it's like I would record a lot of this stuff and then kind of put it into the arrangement and take little snippets and just have lots of lots of nice jams. But yeah, to kind of make the music where I was showing you with lots of different drum programming and sample chops, it's quite hard to do that live. And unless, yeah, you're like Aphex Twin and you're just an utter freak genius. But yeah, that's generally how I would tend to have a jam. Yeah, hope you enjoyed it. I think we're going to do some questions now, I think, yeah? If we got time?
Yeah, we got some time. First, I got some questions myself.
All right, let's take a seat.
So it's really cool to see your workflow, and it looked like you did a lot of research beforehand, so you have a template of yourself in Ableton. Is this how you typically work with stuff that is already in Ableton that you
Yeah.
carefully selected, and then when you start Ableton, you can actually jam?
Yeah, yeah. So this is a kind of a streamlined version of my template. Just I would have like another group for my other synths here, but essentially it's all ready to go as soon as I start up my computer. So I'll have my drums here, and then I would have some drum rack stuff here, and then some audio channels where I know that I'm probably going to put in some percussion loops or something, or drum breaks. And then I have Machine, which is software from Native Instruments, and I don't know if you've heard of an MPC. It's kind of like a digital MPC, basically. It also comes with a hardware controller, just like an Ableton Push, but I didn't bring it today. But yeah, workflow is really important for me because like my Ableton Push can then also control this software using the sorry, the volume's off. Using the drum racks here. So I set that up myself, and then like it's very, I don't know, I find it important where everything is cohesive,
Because you talked about a drum rack. What is a drum rack?
Yeah, so drum rack is this here. It's just an instrument within Ableton Live where you can load. So I'll give you an example. Right. So I'll just load this break in, even though it's that's a bit loud. So it's like kind of like a sampler as well, because you can kind of just, so if you don't like the whole break, you just take a little bit of it. Right, cool. We've got that part, and then let's take the snare part. I think it's this section here. Oh, sorry. This section. So then you can kind of take the sample and play your own way. Yeah, just like
You
that.
slice it.
Yeah, you slice it. There also is a slice option, but I don't really like it. I don't use it. So yeah, you could also do this, and then you have the slice section. I don't think it's a good way to demonstrate it now because it's in a drum rack, but you would put it here. Let me see, get another one. Right. So then it's all done automatically, but I like to kind of just go in and do it manually, and yeah, essentially same thing, just more complicated. And then yeah, so I have my drum racks and loops, and then Machine. Then I've got some channels for my hardware stuff, which is not playing right now for some bizarre reason. So that comes through here, and then just some channels to record it as well. And then I have some channels here which are for this keyboard. So this keyboard is just like a MIDI controller, but it also controls like all of my plugins here. So it basically organizes all the presets, and you can kind of, let me just open up the software for you. So you can kind of tweak it as well, as if it's like a real hardware synth, and it's really nice, and you can just kind of browse through different sounds, load them really easily. And it's a good way to oh, that's going to take a while. Oh, that's pretty quick. Yeah, so it's just a cool way to kind of organize lots of plugins that you have whenever you get a lot more. And then
Nice.
yeah,
And I got one final question, and then let's give the audience a chance to ask some questions.
Yeah, sure thing.
For producing, what would be your top 3 tips for beginner producers or people that are already a bit more experienced?
Okay, yeah, top 3 tips. I think one of the tips that I wish I was given when I first started was like using the resources that are like available, like YouTube. I studied music. I studied it at school, and then I did a degree in general music. But I actually learned more from YouTube. You know, so like all those resources are really helpful, and yeah, I wish I kind of knew that at the start before putting in money into a music production course. The course was good, but I learned more specific things from the likes of YouTube, and it's all free. So if you put in the hours, then you can really learn a lot. Another tip, yeah, like as cliche as it sounds, but you practice. Like the music that I was making years ago sounds terrible, like really bad. I think it's decent now, but yeah, you have to put in the hours to get to a sound where you want. And it took me quite a while to figure out what kind of sound I wanted to make. Like first, I was making like more like Berlin techno stuff. Then I was making like disco house edits and hip hop, and yeah, it was only in the last couple of years where I finally figured it out. So just having patience, really. And yeah, third tip: don't just buy it because it looks nice. And yeah, like sometimes it can be overwhelming to have lots of equipment around you, and then you're like, oh, okay, I don't know what to do. Where do I start? So keeping it simple, keeping it simple is usually a good way to get away from that. And yeah.
Sounds like pro tips. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. Off the top of my head.
So, do we got any more questions from the audience? Yes.
Hey, yo, Eddie. First of all, thank you so much for showing us around. It's like truly mad to see how you work and how crazy extensive your tracks are.
Cool,
I'm
thank you.
just wondering, what's your relationship with quantizing?
Quantizing? Yeah, I think it really depends. Like, depends on what I want to make, really. I generally don't like to have everything super like rigid. But for example, I'm not the best keyboard player, so then I always quantize that. But like a lot of the music I'm making, I'm involving some elements of breaks or samples where in the sample itself, it's not strictly rigid, if you know what I mean. And yeah, quantize it could be helpful, but it really just depends. It's like a case by case kind of situation for me, anyways. I know some people swear by it, and some people hate it, and yeah, it's really just like Marmite kind of.
And may I ask, like, do you think the more pro you get, the more you have to get rid of or lose quantizing? What's your opinion on that?
No, not necessarily. Yeah, I still think it can be really helpful, and I think like for example, Tim Reaper, he's a jungle producer, and he's kind of like the you know, the flagship holding the pole for that new kind of jungle sound, and his is very quantized, and people love it. But some people prefer the more kind of looser, kind of swung kind of sound. So I think it's really just personal preference, to be honest. I don't think it really matters how pro you are. Essentially, I think it's just kind of one of those subjective things. Yeah, yeah.
Thanks, man.
No worries. Any other questions? Cam girl.
My question was like, when you broke the tracks up, did you do that after you had already come up with like the way that the track would go, or did you already have it like?
When I was creating the track, you mean like in the sections?
Yeah, the sections.
Yeah. I think definitely for the lunar one, I think I started with like the breakdown section, and then I kind of went from the chorus, and then I was like, okay, I want to have a different kind of intro. Yeah, it's quite hard, quite difficult actually, because it's not like a formula every time. But I know for sure, especially in the first track, like I set out, because it was a song which it was more like me kind of like doing songwriting in a way. Like I'm not a songwriter, but I don't think a lot of people in electronic music are. But with this track, I set out to have like, this is a section where I want to show how I'm happy. This is a section where it's kind of a bit more sad, and then this is angry. So in that instance, yes. But with the second track, it was really just kind of right, where can I go with this? And I want there to be a crazy section somewhere, and then a moment of calm, and yeah, kind of just going with the flow, seeing where it takes me, kind of. Does that answer the question, or is that just a lot of rambling?
Hey again, man.
How you doing?
I wanted to ask, like, how much do you feel your mood determines the type of music you make? Because tracks like Foul Play and Pandemonium are like so rowdy.
Yeah.
But then there's some like really like what you did today is super introspective and melodic.
Yeah, we were talking about this earlier actually. I don't really know because a lot of the music that I'm making is like this sad boy type of music. It's really melancholic and stuff, and I'm just not that kind of guy. I'm like, so it's a question that I can't really answer for you because I can't answer for myself. Like with the Foul Play and Pandemonium stuff, I set out to make a banger because I wanted to make a banger. But maybe I think with the more recent stuff, just with the stuff we were all going through, I'm just kind of going through that and adapting with that. Maybe subconsciously, it played on my mind, but I never set out to make like stuff that's really deep and emotional. But I just gravitate towards making that. So that you saw there, for example, I'm going to make something a bit dirty, but then I kind of made it a bit kind of epic sounding with these big sounds. So yeah, it's I don't know. I really don't know, but I'm happy. I'm happy with the sound that I'm making, and it took a while for me to get to that stage for sure. And I think it does for everybody when you're first starting out.
Yeah, I really liked the contrast there. It's like listening to two different artists.
We were saying it's like kind of just maybe channeling emotions in a different way.
I asked the same question, and some of your tracks has like when you break up with your girlfriend and you're emotional, but still want to go away.
Yeah,
that kind of contrast.
Crying on the dance floor. Yeah. I mean, if people want to have that, if I have that effect on people, that's cool by me. Yeah, whatever. It's not intentional.
Are there any more questions?
Yeah. Those lights are bright.
Yo, first off, thank you for showing us all your tricks.
No worries, man.
And second of all, can you maybe tell us a bit about your musical upbringing and how you started making music?
Oh, yeah.
You talked about playing guitar and stuff.
Yeah, for sure. I was pretty much raised on like salsa music and jazz in the house. My mum's a big fan, and I'm still a huge fan of that. But yeah, I was once like a heavy metal kid playing guitar, and then I also played like acoustic guitar, like more kind of folk, kind of traditional Ben Hard type of stuff. My brothers, I've got two older brothers, and they were big into hip hop and R&B and kind of neo soul stuff. So I drew some kind of inspiration from that. But yeah, it wasn't until I was like maybe 16 or so where I started getting into producing music. And yeah, then initially, I think it was just because I started going raving, going to clubs, getting exposed to like cool house and techno gigs. And then I got introduced to breakbeat. And then it just kind of took over, and lots of different influences, especially Afrobeat music as well. Just everything really. Me and my mum still share jazz tracks with each other quite often, and yeah. So I actually listen to probably jazz and R&B more than I listen to electronic music, and that's the music that I make. But I somehow draw inspiration from it. So.
Okay, thank you. And one more quick question: did you start DJing because you produce music, or did you have interest in DJing before?
I think it was DJing first, and then just kind of messing around with some mates who had a little DJ controller, and then I got into producing. Yeah. But I always thought of myself as a DJ first, and then now I think I'm more of a producer. I think I'm more confident in that aspect, but I still love DJing. But yeah.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
No worries.
Okay, I think we have to wrap it up. We got time for one last question. I saw another hand. Yeah.
This might actually be a pretty good follow-up question because you've been telling us about where you come from so far from the music. Can you maybe tell us a little bit about where you're going. Have you set any goals? Or
Oh, okay.
Thought about stuff you haven't done yet? Maybe
Yeah,
you
yeah.
haven't really figured out if you're ready for it, but
Yeah. Where I intend to go? You mean? Is that what you're saying?
yeah, or stuff you
Yeah.
haven't tried but you want to try.
Yeah, I mean, like I'm now in the process. I've still yet to do an album. I think well, I did do an album, but I just didn't release it. And then yeah, but I really want to kind of do an album maybe next year because it's a whole different thought process, and it would definitely be a lot more emotional. And I think I would want to do that with my own label, which I'm yet to start. I've been wanting to start a label for a long time, and yeah, in terms of where I want this to progress, I would just want to be in the studio a lot, and be playing gigs a lot. I'm quite simple. I'm quite easily entertained, so yeah, I just want to keep sharing my music with people. Hope they dig it, and also releasing records from people that I admire. I think that's kind of probably the next natural step for me, is to start the label and kind of share what I think is good music as well, other than DJing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, cool man, good enough for me.
Yeah,
Looking forward.
Keep an eye out.
Yeah, great last question.
Yep.
Yeah, do you have any releases planned or any dope DJ gigs planned in the future?
Releases wise, I have not a lot coming up. No, this year has been really busy with gigs. I just got back from a tour in Australia, for example, and stuff I still have to finish, like lots and lots of projects, and did some remixes and stuff like that. But no, in terms of releases coming, I'm still getting back into it. Like, this is one of those times where you can have a bit of a creative dip, and I'm definitely had that recently. But also because I've had a pretty hectic touring schedule, where I wouldn't have had that before. So it's just finding that balance. Cool gigs, yeah. I got some gigs in like Switzerland and Norway and stuff like that, and Belgium. So I'm looking forward to doing that in the next couple of months. And,
Sounds great. Great
yeah,
plans.
yeah,
So,
we're busy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kessler, Eddie, thank you so much
No worries, man.
for coming here and sharing your knowledge. Really enjoyable and great to get this perspective from you.
Yeah, thank you for being here.
If I'm correctly, you also made a sample pack.
Oh.
Let's just cut that out.
Yeah. Cut.
But still,
I mean, I do have a Kessler pack in the works. What happened? Yeah. I don't know what just happened there. But it's gone. Oh, there it is.
Maybe one of the future.
It's in the works. It's in the works.
Yeah.
But no, I forgot that part. I'll be honest. Yeah.
It's all good. I'm pretty sure we're gonna still hear great stuff from you in the future. So thank you again. Can I get a round of applause for Kessler?
Yeah. Thank you, guys.
So this was Footprints by Operator Radio. Check the stream. We're gonna put it out on YouTube, and yeah, like, subscribe,
Share,
of course. Till the next one. Ciao.
Ciao. Thank you, guys.